are back in the building. What's going on?
By the skin of our chinny chin chin.
Welcome to AJ and Dom podcast.
In advance, it already seems like something's trying to stop this from happening today. Lots of technical difficulties on our end, so as we move forward, anything and everything that happens, we apologize in advance.
It's technical difficulties in the atmosphere.
Yes. But welcome back to the second week in a row. Hashtag consistency, which was our topic last week.
Right.
And it looks like we're on the road.
Right. Definitely on the road.
Regardless of the nap I had to take to get here.
Yeah, that's a big one.
But anyways, happy spring equinox. Technically 2 days ago, but we are attached to the 21st of the month, so we tend to always hype up the 21st. Right. But yeah, happy spring. Happy New Year for people like us who don't conform to the logic of the New York beginning in the middle of a season, especially winter. It makes no sense. So
right.
This is how we start our year, is with spring.
Yep. That's how we started out.
So it is Thursday, the 21st of March.
Is it already Thursday?
Yeah, tomorrow's Friday.
Wow.
It's been a blink of an eye week, but an interesting week.
Yeah,
you know?
That's crazy how fast time just goes.
Very, very fast. But anyways, today's topic actually came to me today, which is pretty awesome. It's funny because like something like crazy will happen, and then it'll put a topic in my head, and next thing you know, I'll write a whole episode, and it's like, if this wouldn't have happened, then whatever. So the topic today is emotion.
Emotion.
Yeah. And just to start off with a quick story of how this topic came to me this morning.
Okay.
I was riding in the car after dropping our daughter off, and I played one of the songs moving forward that we're going to be working on called We Are Everywhere. And I had already texted you.
Yeah.
We always have multiple versions of songs in the pipeline, and so it's like I never know which one I'm clicking on or whatever.
Yeah.
So the one I clicked on ended up being one that you had referenced a bunch of different ideas on. But for some reason, I was just emotional this morning. And because of the way you referenced it, okay, backstory, this is a song that was my song 10 years ago.
Yes, it was.
Before we started doing music as a duo. So now this song is becoming an our song. So when you did the reference, the reference was just all him. And it was triggering for me for some reason, which makes no sense. But I literally felt deleted. And I had like a visceral, like physical, almost tear reaction. And it was so interesting because I was like, why am I feeling like this? Feeling emotional.
Right.
And so I just reached out to you and I texted you and I was just like, so I thought that was the only version there was. And then I ended up finding a second version that I was able to listen to. But it just kind of like sparked my interest to talk about this today. I keep saying it like this emotion because, from what the road we've been on, emotion is just energy in motion.
Right.
So
yeah, that's what
if I do a lot of talking on this episode, it's because I wrote down a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So first, emotion is a noun. And obviously we've always been taught that a noun is a person, place, or thing, but it's also an animal, a quality, an idea, or an action. Right. So they've expanded the word noun since we were in school 20 plus years ago.
Right. Right.
But when you look at the word emotion, it, the Webster's Dictionary version is a natural, instinctive state of mind derived from one's circumstances, mood, or relationship with others.
Right.
Instinctive or intuitive feeling as distinguished from reasoning or knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much it's basically energy given, energy inside of you but being prompted by other people or things outside of you.
Right. You know? Right. It's definitely something to think about.
So it's almost like it becomes your job to not only identify it but learn to control it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Still puts you in control, but you have to identify it.
Right. Like, here's a question. Why are emotions so hard to control?
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, because honestly, the way that we are all as people, the way we are taught to deal with emotions,
Mm-hmm.
the way we're taught to express emotion, the way we're taught to handle other people's emotions, honestly, is really not the correct way.
Mm-hmm.
And we listen to these how we were brought up, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
How people would say stuff like, well, this is how you're supposed to deal with this, and this is how you're supposed to deal with that. And it's like
you're not supposed to have emotions. Stop being emotional.
Yes. Yes. And yes, definitely. Especially later, like I would say later generations.
Mm-hmm.
They
being older generations or newer?
Older generations, yeah. From ours back, it just goes to just like, don't show emotion, don't cry, don't show, always be strong. You know what I mean? Especially as a man, but in general, you know what I mean? That's a big deal.
I think a lot of times we've actually never been taught to even identify them.
Right.
So that's why we can't control them.
You're right. We don't even know how to.
We just let them go. Like, we're not even supposed to acknowledge that they exist.
Right.
Or that, historically, that's the way it was presented to everyone.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It's
like, who cares how you feel? Just do.
Just right. Like, what?
And what's funny is, like, now we've hit this spot that's why it's always that yin and yang, because it's like we're coming from this generation of emotions shouldn't mean anything, and now we're in an extremely emotional
oh my god
time frame where people are hyper emotional, but are not controlling their emotions. They're just letting them drive them wherever. And so it's like, hopefully, bouncing from far left to far right, the goal is that as a planet, we get to the point where we get in the middle,
right?
And we learn that they are there for a reason. Like, from my perspective, they're there for a reason. You're supposed to feel them. You're supposed to acknowledge them, give them their moment, but also control that. So, like, for example, if you're pissed off is a valid emotion.
Yes.
People like to be like, don't ever be angry. It's like, no.
Yeah.
That's how you become nuts, basically, because it's going to come.
Yeah. You're holding it in, not being able to acknowledge it.
But allowing yourself, hey, I'm going to be angry for 20 minutes.
Well, yeah.
And then being like, okay, it's over.
Right. It's like, let that moment be that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Only thing that you need to do is make sure that you have that moment with yourself and not having to
take it out on someone.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing.
Yes.
But having that moment and acknowledging when that moment is coming or when it is there, then you have like, okay, I need to have my moment. I need to go smash a pot.
Or maybe not smash a pot.
Maybe not that extreme.
Maybe like punch a pillow.
Oh, I'm making it as an example, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
We just need to be able to have or be allowed to have that. And that's the biggest kicker, is that our generation has been taught not to allow those things to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then because they don't know and they weren't taught and they didn't acknowledge even when a feeling existed, you know what I mean? Like, is that a whimper? What? You know what I mean? Like,
I also think, and I'm not of that generation. But I do believe sometimes the older generation, like our parents' generation, almost feels a little bit jealous because they've lived so many years of having to harbor in their feelings in a way, and now we are allowed all this freedom. And it's like a lot of times you want to be like, okay, it doesn't matter that you're 60 plus, start now. They kind of are still harboring almost like a piece of, but I haven't been able to for all this time, and I'm pissed off about it.
Right. You know what? I feel like it's more of our generation that's probably more jealous.
Really?
Yeah. With how all these, you know, as everybody talks, like, oh man, these kids today, how they're able to this, or how they have this, or how they're able to this, or, you know what I mean? Like they don't barely have, you know, school. They're off all the time, or they do this all the time.
True.
You know, and when you do talk to older generations and going back further, they are more like still in their way. Like they still are in that way. Like their way still is the right and only way.
Yeah.
I don't think they're jealous. I think they're more or less still holding their ground.
I can see that.
Because they're taught that way. They're taught to be strong and you know, not showing weakness, being independent, you know what I mean? And being
that's why it's hard for them to it's hard for them to connect with this generation.
That's why they
which is a disservice to this generation.
We are the messenger between generations. We're the messengers. Like we have to take what the kids are doing and saying and try to justify it and give it to the older generation in a better looking platter so they can understand. Well, you know, when this and this and this is why this is happening. This is why they say this. And then we have to go back to the younger generation and acknowledge those things too. Yeah, we're like the messengers. We're the messenger generation.
That's true.
I feel.
That's true. Now, we kind of already answered this. Was a question I wrote down. At what level should we be controlling our emotions? Should it be something where it's like militant, or is it just more of a situation where just always be aware and watch, almost like, what do you call? Okay, you know, you're gonna be like, what? Because you say this all the time.
Me?
But with the video games, third person versus first person, which one is it?
Yeah.
Which one is it when you're looking at the character?
Oh, when you can see
yourself?
Yeah, that's third person.
Okay, so should we be looking at this from a third person perspective? You know, when you feel like that, because you can feel when you're emotional. So is that the moment where we should be stepping back and looking at ourselves from a third person perspective and just observing?
Honestly, I feel that we should always look at everything in third person.
Yeah.
Because in third person, I can see myself, but I also can see everyone else.
Yeah.
So I just feel like it's just a better perspective. And of course, I love third person as a game.
Games in general.
Yes. You know, even though I'm dope at the first person, don't get it wrong. But
having a moment.
I'm just saying. You know, go follow Trilogy Gamer. You'll know. You'll see. But no, the third person, I just feel like it's I think we should always assess everything, but at the same time acknowledge yourself and your feelings. Don't discount your feelings because you're worried about everybody else.
Right.
But also don't just look at yourself and not even consider or think about others that's around you feeling, especially if you care about them. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing. It's like, okay, let me, you know, that's why it's best to just go have your moment.
Yeah.
And it's with you assessing your emotions, the outside person, they have their emotion. The next person have their emotion towards that. So then you have to almost bank it that they're going to assess their emotions and allow you to have your moment wherever you need to. Because it's like, you know, sometimes you're like, I just need a moment, let me go. Then somebody could be like, don't walk off, or don't this and this if you're in an argument, or, you know, and it's like, we have to, you know, I say when you're in a relationship, establish those things and boundaries when emotions are in play. And I think that's the best thing, is that, hey, you know, like we say safe word. You know, what's your safe word? Find a safe word. Find a, you know, when emotions are getting too high and thinking and intelligence is no longer in this conversation. You know, it's like
we're still working on that though.
I mean, of course,
You
because
don't
we're
listen.
human.
You don't listen to.
See,
the safe
here we
word.
go.
I'd be like, listen.
There we go. Safe word. No.
No, on a serious note, because like you know me, unfortunately, I'm a controlled emotion person because I'm an overthinker. So when I go off, it's on purpose. So if we're having a conversation, I'll give those subtle hints that my emotions are going there, and I'll say like, okay, we need to stop this conversation. But then you'll be emotional and you'll continue to talk. And so then I'll be like, okay.
In some cases.
Okay.
In some cases.
All right. I'll be like, all right.
Yeah.
If 3 more words are said, then what's going to come out of my mouth is going to be extremely disrespectful.
Right.
And then when we get there,
well, that's
I
a
literally make the.
And I think that's a whole nother thing. Like
I know.
And
it's not a good thing.
And
I'm not saying it's a good thing.
And what I say is neither side, mine or yours, is good. It's just that I feel that, and that's probably a whole nother conversation or a whole nother episode or whatever. But unconscious belittling.
Yeah.
You know,
or conscious.
Even yes, and conscious.
In my
conscious belittling
for
is
me,
just
it's conscious.
Up. Yours is conscious. Mine is unconscious.
Yeah.
And it's like, I unconsciously may belittle that your emotional state gets to that point way faster than mine.
Yeah, because I go to a place where I'm
yours
like,
is that
at this point
1 to 10.
I need you to understand how far you've taken me,
right?
And so I must let you know verbally.
Because my lack of understanding and my level 1 emotion right now, I'm just chilling. Like what happened? Now you're ready to.
It's not level 1 to me at the moment.
Yeah, for you it's 10, and it's like that's where it gets shaky.
Yeah.
So, but I think that having a conversation, even like we're even talking about it, you know, in public right now about that is healthy. You know what I mean? Acknowledging that, because knowing who you are, knowing who you're dealing with, knowing who you're in a relationship with, or knowing who your friend as a relationship is. You know what I mean? Knowing how they are. That's why it's like, if you can't and decipher what their emotions are, you know what I mean? Like, we've been together for 1,000,000 years, and you still have things to assess.
Oh, heck yeah.
So that's why you can't just be like, you know, how, you know, these kids today. I understand. Like, you know, they call each other's friends within like a week.
Yeah.
Unless you know the person's ups and downs and lefts and rights.
Y'all aren't friends.
Not just favorite color.
Yeah.
You know, like it goes.
That's what we tell Ellie
that.
all the time. I'm like, listen.
Yes.
Because it's like, I'm tired of every other day they're your friend, and then it's like, oh no, we fell out, and then it's like, oh, it's my friend again. I don't know what happened. I'm like, these are not your friends.
And now she ain't talking to me.
Yeah.
I ain't friends no more.
I know she's 11, so obviously she's got to learn.
Yeah, that's different. That's you know that's. But you know, at the same time, it's just allowing those feelings, because that's that stage where it's like, okay, where do the kids end and the maturity begins, you know, or the teaching begins of maturity. You know, it's a hard place.
This slides over to the next definition I have, or tweak to the conversation, is to add a word onto it, and that is emotional intelligence. Which is the ability to manage both your own emotions and understand the emotions of the people around you.
Right.
Okay. And there are 5 key elements to emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Hello, Moon.
The way she just show up, like
our resident cat, Moon. Yes, honey. Okay.
She is something else.
She just likes to be a part of the podcast.
Constantly.
There you are. Yep, I heard you. It's going to be all right. Emotional intelligence.
Yep.
So, this comes into play, especially for me as a manager, because the thing about it is being aware of not only, this is a squeaky chair, sorry in advance. Okay, Moon, okay. Being aware of your own emotions on top of having to be aware of everyone else's emotions around you. Okay. And how to navigate all of them together. when you have staff
Right,
or a group
right.
of people that you oversee, things like that.
Right,
That can be
right.
a lot.
Yes.
Someone comes
Yes.
in and they're not in a good mood, and then you can have two people who don't necessarily like each other in
Right.
general, but they can get along. But then you have a day where somebody's in a mood and they can start a brawl
Yep.
that didn't ever need to. And then you're just sitting there like, okay, how do I regulate this? You know what I mean? Because, yep, I heard you. Because everybody's emotions obviously are valid, but you have to be able to also kind of convey to people like emotional intelligence is maturity. And
Yes.
unfortunately, because it's something that has not been taught at all to people, we've got people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s that have the emotional intelligence of a 5-year-old.
Right.
And it sucks because it's kind of like,
and it's not always their. I mean, that's,
it's not their fault.
Yeah,
by no
that's-
means.
Right. That's just.
It's just as a society, we've never put any. As a society, we have not put any. Okay, where's the word? There's a word.
Emphasis.
Thank you. Emphasis on getting to know yourself. Everything's external.
Right.
Everything's about, get to know him, her. You bring religion into the thing, get to know God. But no one is ever talking about getting to know yourself. Because the thing about it is, how can you be expected to be able to have self-control if you don't even know who you are?
Right. Right.
And practicing stuff, like most people don't have any self-control. That's why we all have weight issues. That's why we all can't kick this habit or kick that habit. The root of all of it is self-control.
Right.
But because it's not actually something that's ever been taught, it's always been something that's just been expected.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
This is
people grow
true.
up and they'll be like, why'd you do that? You don't have no self-control? It'd be like, well, who taught you to have
Right.
self-control? No one.
Right.
We're in school learning the Pythagorean theorem,
Mm-hmm.
but not self-control.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? It's kind of like, okay, because I'm going to use that where?
Yeah.
No shade.
Yeah.
But where am I going to use that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been out of high school 20 plus years. I've never used the Pythagorean theorem, just saying.
Yeah.
But moving right along.
I mean, I would say it's like having that self-control, like going back to what you were saying about knowing self, and I feel like people aren't allowed to be themselves.
Right.
So as soon as they self show up, they're already told, no, put that person away.
Yep. We don't like that.
We don't want that person, and we want you to be this, and this.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And in some cases, understandable in certain environments, but at the same time, there should be that room to be like unequivocally yourself.
On a serious note, in families, that's why
That's
so many people get to the point
that is the biggest
where literally, like for most people, they wouldn't hang around their families if they weren't related.
No.
Because nobody actually cares about fostering actual relationships.
No.
They just rely on this whole blood thing. And it's like, okay, blood don't mean shit. It really don't mean shit. It's like, okay, why don't you actually have a vested interest in wanting to know who the hell I am?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because then at that point, the thing about it is you can get along with pretty much anyone as long as they don't have a bad heart or malicious intent.
Right.
So the thing about it is, I can love the color blue and you can detest the color blue, but I don't have to bring the color blue to the cookout. We can talk about something else.
And
you get what I'm saying?
Right.
And then go home, and I'll go home to my color blue. It's like we've become even now we've become obsessed with because we spend so much time being imposters on the planet.
Absolutely.
Everybody's obsessed with being their authentic self, and they don't give a shit about offending other people. But that's not the right way to go either. Because the thing about it is, okay, bring your authentic self, but I don't really need to see all of you.
Right.
You don't bring your sexy self to go hang out with your parents. Leave that bitch at home. You get what I'm saying? So, like, why can't people learn to compartmentalize and understand that we are so multifaceted,
Right.
and there's so many parts and like sides of us that you don't have to bring every side
Yes.
to Thanksgiving and let everybody know that you're a left wing or a right wing, whatever you do. When you know Uncle Bootsy hates that kind of crap. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, don't just put that away and do some karaoke and enjoy each other's company and have good energy. You know what I mean? It's like, that's the point of getting together with people.
Yeah, people don't know how to shut that off.
Yeah.
And
because they feel like they're being unauthentic. It's like, I need to be myself. It's like, what?
Yeah, and then that's the thing, and that's why it goes into one of the best movies that I think everybody needs to see, and it's a kiddie movie. But Inside Out.
Yeah. The new one's coming out too.
Right, Inside Out 2 is coming. And what I'm going to say on that is, we have those emotions, but as society too, we're taught that having multiple personalities is disorder. When each emotion that you have is a new personality. Like when you're angry, your angry person is a personality. That anger in you creates a personality. You don't like this anymore. You don't want that anymore. You don't want to have that conversation anymore. Right? But when you're happy, all those things are on the table. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like each emotion has its own personality, and you don't bring every personality everywhere.
Exactly.
But it doesn't mean that you're not being yourself. It just means that you're acknowledging that, I can bring this emotion and this personality, this to this table, and I leave it where it is, where it lays.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because, there's things like we talk about that we're not going to talk about around certain people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and it's like, that'll start fights.
You know what it's like?
It'll start
it's
fights.
like clothing. Let's just take it to that. Okay. You got your church clothes. You got your work clothes. You got your play clothes.
That's right.
You got your travel clothes.
Yes.
You got your swimming clothes.
Yep. Yep.
If you're pissed off you couldn't wear your bikini to work, you need to be in a padded room.
Yes,
I'm just saying.
yes,
You get what I'm saying?
yes,
And that's what
yes,
we're doing
yeah,
when we're acting
yeah.
like that. It's like, okay,
Yep.
you wear your work clothes to work.
Right.
You wear your
right.
bikini to the pool.
That's where boundaries are implemented.
Self boundaries.
That's where boundaries are implemented. And those who don't set boundaries enough are the ones who need to set them most. And the ones who set too many boundaries need to lighten up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's that whole like, well, I'm gonna just be myself, but you at the precinct, you can't bring all that stuff in there. You know what I mean? It's like you gotta certain places and certain things you gotta change and
Tweak.
alter. But
you're quiet at the library,
but
and hype at the club.
Right. And
you don't bring the club to the library.
You're not yourself.
Yes.
It just means that acknowledge a different side of you. Just because you don't know that side of you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's like something you need to work on.
Exactly. And that's
work
the point
on your
when
quiet
you need to
self.
go within.
Work on your quiet self when you go to the library.
Yes.
Find that quiet self and identify with that quiet self person.
Exactly.
Don't be loud.
Exactly.
All the time, everywhere you go, what you do, like you said, when they used to do the, we gonna wear jeans today at work. Oh man, yeah, just be so. I used to still wear what I was wearing. I used to still wear business attire only. I ain't got time for that. I just didn't. I was like, whatever. I don't care. I'm at work, so I want to feel like I'm at work. I want to be that work clothing, like you said, work clothes. I don't want to be mad because I couldn't wear jeans today and this day and that day and this.
It shows your level of maturity.
Yes.
Or lack of in that moment.
Yes, and
when
they take it away, then people get all extra mad, and it's like, you that mad over jeans?
Yes.
Did that change what you were gonna eat today? Like, did that
Did it change what was in your pocket?
Like, is you still gonna get the same paycheck?
Exactly. And it's like sometimes it's just kind of like, what is the point?
Exactly.
So I will say, I've been reading this book. You know, I'm always reading.
Yep.
It's a really great book. It's called Atomic Habits, okay, by James Clear. And to just read, you know, there's always a bunch of little bits on the front. It says, #1 New York Times bestseller, Tiny Changes, Remarkable Results. Atomic Habits, an easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones, okay? So, of course, I've marked a few little passages in here to share.
Of course.
You know, that's what I like
Reading
to do.
time.
Well, not reading, but like basically.
I need to go to your page right now.
When you, yeah, basically no.
Oh.
But basically, what is a habit? Okay, it's a settled or regular tendency or practice, especially one that is hard to give up. So basically, it's something you're addicted to is a habit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so it's really funny because when, like, you know, I'm reading this book and I'm reading just a little chapter every day, but it's just like I get these little nuggets and I'll be like, oh. So I just wanted to, the first thing I thought was really interesting can be found on page 159, chapter 13. The first thing that it says is, I begin each day of my life with ritual, okay? And so this was what I thought was really cool. It says, I wake up at 5:30 a.m., put on my workout clothes, my leg warmers, my sweatshirt, and my hat. I walk outside of my Manhattan home, hail a taxi, and tell the driver to take me to Pumping Iron Gym at 91st Street, 1st Avenue, where I work out for 2 hours, okay? So this is the part that I thought was cool. The ritual is not the stretching and the weight training I put my body through each morning at the gym. Right. The ritual is the cab.
The cab. I was about to say it's the cab. Yeah.
The moment I tell the driver where I have to complete the ritual.
Right.
So the thing about it is, it's always that little moment. You know what I mean? Where, and it taps right into your emotions, because the thing about it is, it's how you feel. Right. So it's like you'd be like, oh, I don't feel like doing this, and then you have that 2 minutes where you start talking yourself out of it. Yeah. Versus
that's where accountability comes in, and telling the cab driver, it just instantly sets that, oh, I got to do it now.
Yeah, they call them decisive moments.
Right. It changes the tide.
Yes, like it says, habits are like entry ramps to the highway. So it's like a lot of times we're so focused on, I got to do this workout, where it's like, no, I just need to put on my workout clothes. Focus on that.
Right. Because the first thing at a time.
Because like if you actually put on the workout clothes, then you will actually possibly do the workout. Right. Right. Like the habits are the entry points, not the end points. Another tidbit it says. And then there's something called the 2-minute rule, where it's like when you dream about making a change, excitement, inevitability takes over, and you end up trying to do too much too soon. You know that's me. Because as soon, like, I'll get through one workout, and then it's like from there I need to buy 12 things because I'm about to like put these weights on for the second day of the workout.
I don't think they quite understand that.
And I didn't need to buy this powder because I did one workout, and so now I'm all in, clearly. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just
that's funny.
So yeah, it's the idea of that the point is just to show up. Right. And it's like, if you show up at the gym, this was interesting. If you show up at the gym 5 days in a row, even if you just do 2 minutes, right, you're casting votes for your new identity. Okay. You're not worried about getting in shape. You're focused on becoming the type of person who doesn't miss workouts. Right. You're taking the smallest action that confirms the type of person you want to be. And I thought that was really deep, because it's kind of like, we want to make these big changes, and we want to be this, and we want to be that. And it's like, okay, you have to actually get to a point where you change pretty much who you are. Yeah. And I think the first step of that is first getting to know who you are, and learning how to control your emotions.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And having emotional intelligence. If you have those three things, knowing yourself, controlling your emotions, and having emotional intelligence, you can go anywhere you want to go in life and make anything happen.
Yep.
I really, really believe that. So that's where I am on step 1 of learning those three things.
Right.
I've identified what I need. I just need to,
And that goes with so many things. Like, take your wins.
And
take
your losses.
Your wins and your small wins and acknowledge them. You know, don't be like, oh, I ain't do nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, you ain't doing nothing. You only walked around the corner. At least you did that.
Like me today, in full transparency.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been dealing with a lot of like health stuff over the last year, and it's like some breathing stuff, some digestive stuff, and all week this week I've been walking for 30 minutes every day on the treadmill, and then today I had a digestive flare up where I couldn't breathe, and I could only get through 10 minutes.
Right.
And I wanted to just be like, you piece of shit, basically, which is, but instead I was be like, but I showed up.
Right.
I walked for 10.
Right.
No, I didn't hit my mark.
Yeah. Some people don't even have the habit of, or haven't walked on a treadmill in 5 years.
Right.
So, I mean, or
it's
if
that
not
internal
more.
programming,
I mean,
and it's changing how you talk to yourself.
Yes, and
you know what I mean.
And it's the fact that when you're talking to yourself, you have to literally think, am I saying this, or is it the millions of other people who are saying this?
And I've already identified that for myself.
And that's
I talk to myself
big problem.
Like crap, so that nobody else will. Or like it's more for me. It's like, let me beat you to it.
Yeah.
That's my programming. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali, he kind of said something like that too. He was somebody asked him like, "Are you scared? About the ring and stuff?" And he was like, "Well, it seems like people are more scared for me that when I get in the ring, but I have to, that's why I talk the way I talk and move the way I move and say what I say because." I need to acknowledge it before somebody else does. But they got to realize I'm the one fighting, not them.
Yeah.
So they're more scared than I am, but I have to psych myself up to make myself really ready for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't mean that you're not scared. It doesn't mean that you're not going to, you know what I mean? But you have to almost acknowledge it before somebody else do.
Yeah.
And it's not always really a bad thing.
Agreed.
And it's just when it's at your expense, don't do that to yourself.
Right, because it's not worth it.
Don't do that. But understanding like what people would say and then having your understanding of it, is different.
And I think it's more fear because I think in reality, if you're not afraid and you're doing something and someone says something real sideways to you and it hurt. First of all, we don't like our feelings being hurt. And we don't like anybody to see that our feelings are hurt.
Yeah.
But if you allow yourself to just take the moment, even if you got to go to the bathroom and cry, I mean, it is what it is.
It's the allowment of the emotion.
Yes, allow the emotion to come through, acknowledge it, give yourself a shelf life of how long you allow yourself to feel it.
Yeah.
And then move on.
I mean, yeah, because we taught like, don't you go over there. Come back here.
Everything's fear based.
Those moments.
Everything is fear based.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we get to the point where we identify and we're like, okay, what I'm about to do is the root of it fear, then we can be like, then don't do that.
Right. Exactly.
Like
don't do that.
Yeah. But I mean, that's really all I have for this week. You got anything to add?
No, that was pretty loaded. All of that, just about emotion, is
It's loaded.
Yep.
So, just to recap, emotional intelligence is key. Take stock of your own emotional intelligence, where you are. Most of us are at the starting line, ourselves included.
Yep.
We just found out the verbiage.
Right.
So we're all pretty much in the same boat, especially anybody over the age of 30.
We all learning.
Yeah. So it's okay. And start somewhere and move on. You know?
Literally.
But yeah, I guess that's it for this week's podcast. I think we're going to end like we used to end.
Yeah.
Right? With a song.
Song and a plate.
A plate. You're going to have to get your own plate.
Plate and a song.
I'll give you the song. You can find this song on the
everywhere.
third Vapors album.
Oh, yeah.
Entitled Fallen. That's the name of the album, not the song. The
Right.
song is called Indoor Spaces. The point of the song is about taking a moment to go within and get to know who you are.
Yep.
So
Indoor spaces.
enjoy your evening, your week, your weekend. We will be consistent and see you back here
yes.
next Thursday.
We will.
I can't pinpoint a specific time, but I'll give you the day.
Yep. Yep.
All right. Bye.
See you next time. Take a moment to quiet the blue. Hear something new. All the answers to what you should do are inside of you.
When I need a clarity of vision, how I should be living, choose to go space. How to do this? There's a storm brewing. What should I do? Choose to go when I need clarity of vision. I should go choose to go in. How to do this? There's a storm brewing. What should I do? I should choose to go in those spaces. I choose to go in. 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 I choose to go